Hi there, Dr. Gary here on the road. We sell dental practices nationwide. We are dental practice brokers. I was a dentist for 25 years and now doing the dental brokerage for 16. Today's topic is banker providing finance for a dental transaction develops a solution when the practice sale price didn't cash flow properly. We'll go over that, what happened and so forth. But as you know, we have a great team of 10 employees who, I just like to repeat, did a fantastic job while I was in Southeast China Sea planning our next cruise out there. Southeast China Sea or Australia, Asia or Australia, wherever it's going to be, maybe in 28, planning that. I was very proud of them. So we keep going. We're not a mom and pop organization. We got a good team behind us. Now, moving forward, our phone number is 201-663-0935. Our website is dentalpracticeguide.com or nationwidedentalpracticebrokers.com. So call us at any time. Be happy to talk to you. Okay? The information you're about to use for entertainment purposes only. It is not for legal advice. Once again, another statement I'd like to make is if you have a very large practice and you are thinking about selling to you should think about selling to one of the DSOs. There's some still quality ones around, even though some of the larger ones have had some trouble. You can do significantly well in your sale, but they'll do require you to stay on for several years, 3 to 5 years. They are looking for practices grossing over $1 million and operatories, 4 or 5 operatories or more. But you want to check that out. It could be an opportunity for you. Now, and they'll often pay our commission. In addition, don't forget, if you have a big practice and it's over $1 million it sells for and closes at over a successful closing at over $1 million, we will often, and we're representing you, will often reimburse your legal fees upon successful closing. Some minor criteria is involved in that, okay, such as using a qualified dental attorney. So let's see what happened in this situation here. I'll give you an example. These weren't the exact numbers. I'll just give you an example. The practice sale price is, let's say, $1 million, okay? The bank does the cash flow analysis. In other words, money in, money out, and cash flow is enough for you to still make a living and pay all expenses and have a profit. Now, bank did the analysis, and it's a good candidate, good credit and everything. They like the practice. Problem is, they can't justify $1 million. They're only coming up with $900,000. This is an example, of course. So what do you do in these circumstances? I'm not about to ask, the buyer and seller have already come to the conclusion the practice is selling for $1 million. Can't go back. It doesn't go over well if you go back to the seller. Oh, by the way, the buyer's overpaying and I have to reduce the sale price by $100,000. That doesn't go over well. They're going to be pissed at you. So the banker came up with a creative solution. They're concerned about cash flow all the time. So what happened was, banker says, why don't we get the seller, there's $100,000 we can't finance. Why don't we get the seller to take back a note? In other words, take a private mortgage. You'll know me, I generally say we don't like to do that under most circumstances, but if it is, it's going to be 10% or lower, so your risk is minimal. Always minimal risk. You don't ever finance the whole thing. But under these circumstances, the seller is going to have to reduce the price. They were not too keen on that, or hold the mortgage for $100,000 secondary note, because they'd be in second position to the bank. But they only have a 10% exposure. It's not too bad. And it looks like it's the only way to make this cash flow happen. As doctors also buying the real estate and the dental practice. So that's what we have now. The banker says, well, why don't we just get the seller, just repeating, to hold that $100,000 mortgage. Now, it is a issue that there's still an obligation that, buyer has. I always stop at intersections, very important. Don't take chances on the phone or an intersection. So chances of the buyer is going to do very well. So the seller takes back a note for like, I don't know, $770,000. It's not that much money. But it's at a risk because the seller's in a second position. I'll tell the seller about that. You're in a little vulnerable position with not a lot of recourse if the seller goes under. Buyer goes under, loses the practice, but the chances of that happening are very slight because the success rate of a dental office is 99.75%. The seller gets hurt, calls in their buddies, and temporarily help with the practice. A lot of different ways it could be handled. And what you do, and this is what the bank is saying, get the seller to hold the small 7% or so, $70,000 of the $1 million loan, $80,000, and get them to hold off on payments, interest payments, or pay interest only, or no interest, no principal for 6 months, or a little longer until the practice really starts cash flowing, because the new buyer is going to kick up the advertising and so forth. So this way the bank is satisfied. Their exposure was $900,000. That's it. Secondary note the seller takes back for about $70,000 or so to make up the difference that the bank can't finance, or $100,000, whatever. And it could work out. It could work out fairly well. And this is a suggestion we have for the seller, that this may work out for you, but there is risk. Because if the seller goes under, you don't have anything to take back. There's no equity. There's no collateral. So it's a little problem there, but it's a small percentage. It's 7%, 8%, 9%, 10%. It's a small number. And it's something that could be managed if there was a problem. So that's what the bank came up with, and I think we're going to try to run with it, present it. I don't know what the seller's going to think about this. I don't know if they're going to be too happy, but we're going to give it a whirl. And you've got to have alternatives. And remember, this is not a straight line path to get a dental practice deal done. Oh, sorry for the angle here. Whoop. So just give us a call if you have any questions. Hit the subscribe button so you're alerted. We're making all kinds of deals. And a little slow this week. We just got back from Japan, and I am like jet lag. I don't know what planet I'm on. I'll see you. Bye.